Hello, star people. Welcome to EarthSky. I'm Deborah Byrd. This image shows Stonehenge in England, and thousands will gather here before sunrise on the day of the upcoming solstice, December 21st, 2025. They'll be hoping to catch the rise of the solstice sun and hoping to connect with the return of the light, the rebirth of the sun for us in the Northern Hemisphere. So for us on the northern part of the globe, this solstice marks the first day of astronomical winter and the year's shortest day and longest night. I've got 5 sky tips to help you connect with this upcoming December solstice, no matter where you are, north or south on the globe. And we've also got some images of personal solstices contributed by members of our community. But first, some solstice facts. People use the word solstice to describe a day, but it doesn't last a whole day. It lasts just a moment when the sun reaches its southernmost point in our sky. And that solstice moment will happen at 15:03 UTC on December 21st. That's 9:03 Central Standard Time for us in the Americas. The December solstice can happen on December 20th, 21st, 22nd, or 23rd, but it falls most often on the 21st or 22nd. And according to our friends at timeanddate.com, the last December 23rd solstice was in the year 1903, and the next one won't be until the year 2303. Now, here are 5 things you can watch for at this December 2025 December solstice. 1. On December 21st, the sun will take its southernmost path across our sky. That's true for all of Earth. But if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, watch for a low sun arc and long midday shadows. And although no world body has decreed it, there's nothing official about it. Many in this hemisphere will celebrate the first day of winter at this solstice. And meanwhile, in the Southern Hemisphere, watch for a high sun arc and short midday shadows and celebrations of the first day of summer. Number 2, watch a sunrise or a sunset around December 21st and notice the time. It's the shortest day if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, so you might think it's your earliest sunset, but unless you're at a very high latitude, it's likely your earliest sunsets have already passed. They probably happened in early December or even late November. And your latest sunrises won't come on the day of the solstice either. They'll arrive in early January. And Southern Hemisphere, same is true for you. Your latest sunset won't come on the December solstice. This beautiful quirk of nature is brought to you by Earth's 23.5-degree tilt on its axis, and by the fact that our orbit around the sun isn't a perfect circle. And you know, Earth is a planet. So number 3, let's look at another planet, Jupiter, now nearly at its best. At this December solstice 2025, Earth will pass between Jupiter and the sun in January, and Venus is behind the sun now. So Jupiter is the brightest star-like object in the December night sky. It rises in the east not long after sunset, and it sails across the sky for the rest of the night. Very easy to see, brightest thing up there. Number 4, there's an unsung meteor shower that always happens around the December solstice. This chart shows the northern sky and the Big and Little Dipper asterisms. The Ursid meteor shower will peak on the night of the solstice, December 21st. The meteors will radiate from a spot in between the Big and Little Dippers. Notice the Little Dipper contains the North Star, also called Polaris. So if you were at the North Pole, these solstice meteors would be radiating out from the top of your sky. How cool is that? But as it is for much of the Northern Hemisphere, the radiant is above the northern horizon all night. Still, for most of us, midnight, after midnight, is still the best time to look. So sorry, Southern Hemisphere, this meteor shower probably isn't for you. although you might catch a stray Ursid meteor streaking up from your northern horizon around December 21st. The hourly rate for the Ursids is only about 10 an hour at its peak. That's in contrast to over 100 an hour for the Geminids, which peaked just this past weekend. But in 2025, the new moon happens 2 days before the Ursids peak, and new moon means no moon in the night sky. So if you have access to a rural sky and are looking for a beautiful and unusual late night activity on the night of the solstice, December 21st, the Ursids might be for you. There's a link to more in the post notes. And now, number 5 of things to look for on this December solstice. Remember, I said the moon was new just 2 days before the solstice? So, starting just after sunset, around December 21st, and for some evenings after that, everyone on Earth can watch for the young moon, a slim crescent in the western sky. If you're out looking at holiday lights, watch for this little moon. You couldn't ask for a more beautiful or hopeful sign to end the year. So, lots of people, north and south on the globe, have shared their personal solstices with the EarthSky community. Jose Palma in Portugal shared this solargram. He said this single image shows 183 days, that's 4,392 hours of photographic exposure to the sun as it crossed the sky. So, what you're seeing in this single image is the sun's path and the variation in the sun's path between a summer solstice with a high sun and a winter solstice with a low sun. So, wow, wonderful image. Thank you, Jose. We have more about this image at earthsky.org. That link is in the post notes too. And Laurel Sherry in California told us the locals call this coastal rock formation Stonehenge, and it never disappoints, she said. It's magical to be there for a winter solstice. Thank you, Laurel. You might have a special place near you to mark the solstices and equinoxes too. I know I do. Or you might be like Rick Williams in Woodland, California, who shared this image in 2020. And as you look at this, remember the word solstice comes from a Latin word meaning the sun stands still. Rick wrote, this was taken 1 day before the solstice at noon. I have a small mirror in front of my house, he said, and it reflects the sun onto my outside wall. Every day I mark the reflection on the wall exactly at noon. So over the course of the year, it delineates what's called an analemma. That's a figure 8 shape traced by the sun's position in the sky when photographed at the same time every day over a year's period. And Rick wrote, at the solstice, the sun seems to pause and reverse its course. Sun stands still. Thank you, Rick. Like Jose and Laurel and Rick, I bet lots of you have felt the pull to do something special on a solstice because people throughout history have felt that. And it's because for all of Earth's creatures, nothing is so fundamental as the length of daylight. And our daylight in the Northern Hemisphere is about to start increasing again. Yay! You might not know this, I didn't, but how fast your daylight hours will increase depends on your latitude. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, the more northerly latitudes see a faster increase than the more southerly latitudes. And now there's another event in Earth's orbit that nearly coincides with the solstices, and that's Earth's closest point to the sun and farthest point to the sun. Our closest point is called perihelion, and we'll be there next in just 13 days after this upcoming solstice. The date will be January 3rd, 2026. At our closest to the sun, will be about 91.4 million miles away. And then 6 months from now, Earth will reach its farthest point from the sun called, I call it aphelion. Some people call it aphelion. It won't be much farther away then, but just a little bit farther away, a few million miles, because Earth's orbit is almost, but not quite a circle. In 2026, a perihelion will fall on July 6th, just 16 days after the June 2026 solstice. So around now, people always ask, are the December solstice and the January perihelion related? And so here's one of EarthSky's night sky experts, our own John Goss, with more.
Thank you, Deborah. Short answer is no, they're not really related. It's just more or less coincidental that these two events happen so close to each other this time of year. The December solstice and the perihelion, I think they're 13 days apart. And in July, when you have and in June, when you have the June solstice followed by the aphelion time, again, it's about 13, 14 days apart, something like that, which varies a little bit from year to year. But yeah, it's just coincidence. Remember that the solstices are really dictated by the Earth's axial tilt of about 23.5 degrees, while perihelion point and aphelion point dictated by Earth's elliptical orbit. So it's just coincidence that they're fairly close together. The perihelion date changes slightly from year to year. Over many centuries, this change is quite noticeable. In fact, the perihelion date in the year 6430 will be on about the March equinox, not around January 3rd or 4th or 5th. It'll be around March 21st or so. So that's something to keep in mind, that these things do change, but that's not for another 4,000 years. So don't worry too much about that.
Thank you, John. Okay, so the date of the solstice and the date of the perihelion are getting farther and farther apart. And I'll be talking more about Earth's perihelion, not next Wednesday because we're out on Christmas Eve, but the Wednesday after that, the final day of 2025, December 31st, around midday on the day of New Year's Eve. So I hope you'll join me then. And in the meantime, I'm wishing you all a happy solstice, the happiest of holidays, and the clearest of skies. If you like hearing about astronomy, please subscribe, like, and share. One Earth, one sky, EarthSky.